And looking into whether America's most notorious skyjacker is a retired Army major from Nashville.
Tonight, we continue our D.B. Cooper investigation, uncovering new clues and the incredible odds Cooper could be anyone else.
It's the only skyjacking in American history the FBI couldn't solve. In November 1971, a man who calls himself Dan Cooper hijacks a plane en route from Portland to Seattle. After collecting a $200,000 ransom, he jumps out of a Boeing 727 at 10,000 feet into a rainstorm, never to be seen again.
The fact that world champion parachutist is quoted in a newspaper saying, "I wouldn't do this jump Cooper made for any amount of money you offered me," it shows the risk this man was willing to take.
Bill Rollins is an engineer and author from New Hampshire. In 2016, he wrote a book about how D.B. Cooper escaped. In the years since, he has refined the theory Cooper is Joe Lakich, a deceased Army veteran from Nashville.
I think her loss left Joe devastated.
Rollins believes Lakich blamed the FBI for the murder of his daughter, Susan Giff. 2 months before the Cooper hijacking, Giff's ex-husband George kidnapped her, hijacked a charter plane in Nashville, and ordered the pilot to fly to the Bahamas.
58 November, this is the FBI speaking.
They stopped in Jacksonville for fuel.
The decision will be no fuel for that aircraft.
Minutes later, FBI agents shot out the plane's tires, prompting the hijacker to kill the pilot, his ex-wife Susan, and then himself.
People thought that the FBI had really messed this thing up.
Family friend Tom Pugh remembers Susan Giff's father saying publicly the FBI had blood on its hands.
What I saw was, and obviously the FBI records verify this man was motivated by his grudge.
Statements Cooper made to flight attendants before he jumped indicate he had a grudge, but not against the airline. Cooper said the flight simply fit his time, place, and plans. Military records show Joe Lakich served as an infantry soldier in World War II who received the Bronze Star for heroism. He specialized in planning missions. After the Army, Lakich worked as a production supervisor at Nashville Electronics. In 2011, new lab tests revealed the tie Cooper discarded before he jumped contained tiny pieces of titanium, a rare metal in 1971. This patent shows capacitors made by Nashville Electronics contained the extremely pure form of titanium found on Cooper's tie.
That shows you he is a very rare individual indeed to work in an industry where they worked with titanium and would have had processes where they would have produced this particle found in his tie.
In 2016, the FBI suspended active investigation of the Cooper case.
And I wrote that in my book. You can read my book.
Right.
But Bill Rollins hasn't given up. In recent months, he's been in Nashville looking for the money. In 1980, some of the bills from the Cooper ransom were found alongside the Columbia River in Washington State. The rest of that money has never been found.
He's the right height. He's the right build. Yeah. He's got the right eye color.
Rollins is trying to make his case to Andy Downs, whose father Brent is the pilot murdered along with Susan Giff. He speculates the combination of Joe Lakich's age, appearance, demeanor, military and work experience, and the grudge make him a prime suspect.
All these things, we end up with 10 to the fifth or 10 billion. This man is 1 in 10 billion.
Incredible odds and an incredible likeness, but Andy Downs still isn't convinced.
Why would you put yourself on the FBI map by suing J. Edgar Hoover's FBI and then try to plan something like this?
Skeptics question whether Joe Lakich would have had the know-how to jump out of an airplane just like this at night in the middle of a rainstorm when his military records don't indicate he went to flight school. But Bill Rollins has an answer.
This is a man who has an extreme grudge and really has resigned himself to the fact that he may live or he may die, but either way, it's a win-win situation.
And there's something else. The FBI is convinced the name Dan Cooper came from this European comic book popular during the war. They believe the hijacker is a veteran who took the name from the comic. Joe Lakich served in Germany, Korea, and Italy during the war and may have been familiar with the Dan Cooper stories.
He identifies with the comic book character. He's taken on a daring mission in the name of justice.
Unless that money is found, this theory may never be proven. And if Joe Lakich is D.B. Cooper, he took the secret to his grave.
Author Bill Rollins now has his sights set on a documentary chronicling the stories of the crew from the flight D.B. Cooper hijacked. We'll keep you posted.